The first petal slipped from my fingers like a confession I couldn't hold back anymore, landing soft and accusing on the cold granite of the memorial plaque. "Liam," I whispered to the wind-whipped quad, my voice cracking against the names carved there. Names of kids who'd chased dreams too fast and crashed into the night. Behind me, the campus buzzed with oblivious chatter, but in that instant, 12 years collapsed into one razor-sharp breath. The boy who'd stolen my heart wasn't just another ghost on this stone. He was the secret I'd buried deeper than any grave. I straightened up, wiping mud from my jeans, and caught the eye of Professor Harlan across the lawn. His nod polite, pitying, like he thought I was just the quiet florist volunteer piecing together beauty from tragedy. If only he knew. The lilies I'd chosen weren't for the accident victims. They were for the love we'd hidden in dorm room shadows, for the promises we'd whispered under starless skies, and for the betrayal that had shattered us both. As the rain started to spit from the gray Ohio heavens, I felt it all rising again. The ache, the fury, the love that refused to die, like a storm I'd outrun for too long. That memorial had been erected 5 years back, after the drunk driver pileup on Route 71 that stole 6 lives from Eldridge University. It sat smack in the heart of campus, a slab of polished granite ringed by benches where kids nursed hangovers or broke up in whispers. I'd volunteered for the flower committee last spring, telling myself it was therapy, a way to give back after my own string of losses. Mom's cancer 2 years ago, the freelance graphic design gigs drying up in this Rust Belt economy. Hell, even my golden retriever, Max, crossing the Rainbow Bridge last winter. But truth be told, it was penance. Every bouquet I arranged was a silent apology to Liam, to the version of Maddox Hale who'd believed in forever at 19. Eldridge wasn't the Ivy League dream. It was a sturdy state school in Akron, Ohio, where football Saturdays roared louder than lectures, and the air smelled of steel mill smoke and fresh-cut grass. Back in freshman year, 2013, I'd arrived wide-eyed from a Cleveland suburb, backpack stuffed with sketchpads and a heart pounding with secrets I hadn't named yet. Gay in a family of auto workers and churchgoers. Dad fixing Fords at the plant, Mom baking pies for potlucks. I'd learned early to smile through the sermons on sin. College was my escape hatch, a place to breathe without the weight of their expectations. That's when I met Liam Carver. He was the RA on my floor in Harper Hall. All broad shoulders and easy grins, with hazel eyes that crinkled like autumn leaves. 20, a sophomore poli-sci major from a farm town south of Toledo. He wore faded flannels and carried himself like he owned the hallway. Confident, but not cocky. Our first real talk was over a spilled coffee in the lounge. I'd been sketching a logo for the student union, my hands shaking from nerves, when he slid into the booth opposite me. "Artist, huh? That's cool. Most guys here are just grinding for the degree." His voice was warm, like cider on a chill night. I glanced up, heat flooding my cheeks. Maddox, freshman, trying not to drown. Liam, and trust me, the drowning part gets easier after midterms. He lingered, stirring his mug, and something in his gaze hooked me. Curious, unguarded. By the end of the night, we'd swapped numbers, and I was replaying his laugh in my head like a forbidden track on repeat. It built slow, that spark. Study sessions in the library stacks, where his knee would brush mine under the table, sending jolts I pretended were static. Late-night walks to the all-night diner on East Market, splitting fries and dodging questions about home. He talked about his dad, a veteran with a prosthetic leg and a temper that flared like 4th of July fireworks. His mom, sweet but worn thin by bills. A little sister he sent comic books to every month. I spilled about my sketches, my fear of the blank page mirroring the blank terror of admitting who I was. One crisp October evening, under the floodlights of the quad, it ignited. We'd been at a bonfire rally, Eldridge versus Kent State, the air thick with bonfire smoke and beer pong chants. I was buzzed on cheap natty light, the crowd a blur of red hoodies, when Liam pulled me aside behind the porta-potties, his hand firm on my elbow. "Maddox, wait." His breath ghosted my ear, close enough I could smell his soap. Irish Spring, clean and boyish. I turned, heart hammering. "What's up?" He didn't speak at first, just searched my face like he was memorizing it. Then, soft as the falling leaves. I've been wanting to do this since that coffee spill. His lips met mine tentative, then fierce, tasting of salt and smoke. The world narrowed to that kiss. The rough stubble on his jaw, the way his fingers tangled in my hair, pulling me closer like I'd vanish if he let go. When we broke apart, gasping, he rested his forehead against mine. Is this okay? I mean, more than okay, I murmured, my voice wrecked. It's everything. We tumbled into secrecy after that, a hidden world carved from stolen moments. His dorm room after lights out, curtains drawn tight, bodies pressed close in the twin beds creak. Whispers in the back rows of Poli-Sci 101. His notes passed under desks. Meet me at the bridge, the old rail bridge over the Cuyahoga, rusted and forgotten, where we'd lie on blankets and trace constellations, his head on my chest as I drew patterns on his skin with invisible ink. It was pure, that love, raw and unfiltered, like the first snowfall blanketing the campus in hush. He'd surprise me with wildflowers from the arboretum, tucked into my backpack. I'd sketch him asleep, capturing the vulnerability he hid from the world. We dreamed big. Him law school in D.C., fighting for the little guy. Me in New York, illustrating book covers that made people feel seen. We'll make it, he'd say, lacing our fingers. You and me against the rust. But secrets fester, don't they? By spring, the cracks showed. His roommate, Jake, caught us once. Liam's hand on my thigh during a movie night, the air thick with unspoken tension. Jake smirked, said nothing, but the next week, whispers slithered through the hall like smoke. Carver's got a sidekick. What's Hale's deal, anyway? Liam withdrew, eyes shadowed, blaming final stress. I pushed it down, told myself it was paranoia. Graduation loomed, and with it, the real world. His internship in Columbus, my gap year scraping by on commissions. We planned a road trip west, chasing Route 66 sunsets to seal our pact. But 2 weeks before, over greasy burgers at Swenson's, he dropped the bomb. Maddox, we gotta talk. His fork stabbed a fry like it owed him money. My stomach twisted. About the trip? He wouldn't meet my eyes. About. After this, Dad's pushing me into the family business hardware store back home. And there's this girl, Sarah, from high school. She's pregnant. The diner spun, the jukebox crooning some old Springsteen tune about broken highways. Pregnant? Liam, what? It was one night before us. Stupid, drunk at a reunion. Her folks called mine last week. They're old school, mad expecting rings and vows. If I bail, it'll kill him. After Nam, the divorce, everything. I gripped the table edge, knuckles white. And us? 12 months of us. And you throw it away for a mistake. His jaw clenched, that farm boy steel I used to love now a wall. It's not throwing away. It's reality. You think D.C. or New York wants a queer kid from Ohio with baggage. We hide this, or we lose everything. Hide. The word tasted like ash. We've been hiding. When's it enough? He reached for my hand, but I yanked back. Please, Mad, be my best man. We'll figure us out later, summers, visits. I love you.
God, Ido.
I walked out into the neon night, rain slicking the pavement, his pleas chasing me like ghosts. That was the betrayal. Not the baby, not Sarah, but the lie that our love was disposable, a phase to shelve until convenient. I didn't go to the wedding, 6 months later in a white-clabbered church south of Toledo. Instead, I packed for California, chasing freelance dreams in L.A., burying Liam in sketchbooks I never opened. Years blurred after that. I built a life in the sprawl. Tiny Echo Park apartment, gigs for indie mags, a string of coffee dates that fizzled into nothing. Therapy unpacked the anger. Mom's hospice hugs mended the family rifts I'd widened by ghosting home. But Liam lingered, a bruise that throbbed on anniversaries. Our first kiss date, the bridge's coordinates tattooed invisible on my wrist. Then, last fall, the memorial email pinged my inbox. Eldridge alumni, calling for volunteers to honor the lost. I flew back, telling myself closure. But kneeling there today, arranging those lilies, his favorite, stubborn white against the gray stone. I saw it clear. The secret wasn't just his. It was mine, too. The letters I'd burned, the nights I'd cried into pillows, the way I'd armored my heart against every guy since, convinced love was a trap. As the rain thickened, soaking my flannel, a voice cut through. "Maddox Hale? Holy shit, it's you." I turned, water streaming down my face, and there he was, Liam Carver, older but unmistakable, hazel eyes widened under a ball cap, 40 pounds heavier, lines etched from farm work and regret. But that crinkle when he smiled? Still a killer. He held an umbrella, hesitating on the path like he'd stepped into a memory uninvited. "What are you doing here?" I stood, voice steadier than I felt. "Donating tools for the vocational fair. Coach Harlan mentioned the flowers. You always had that touch." He stepped closer, umbrella tilting to shield us both. Up close, the years showed. Silver threading his temples, a wedding band glinting dull. "These lilies, they're like the ones from the Arboretum." My throat tightened. "Yeah, well, memorial's not just for the crash kids." His face crumpled, understanding dawning slow and painful. "Matt, it's you. All this time I thought, you thought wrong." The words lashed out, sharper than intended. Around us, students scattered for cover, the quad emptying like a stage after the curtain. He flinched but held ground. "Can we talk? Coffee? For old times." I wanted to walk, hell run, like I had that diner night. But 12 years of what-ifs anchored me. Swenson's. 10 minutes. The diner hadn't changed. Vinyl booths cracked like old skin. The jukebox now streaming indie folk instead of Boss. We slid into our old spot, orders automatic, coffee black for him, cream and sugar for me. Silence stretched, heavy as the steam rising between us. "I'm sorry," he started, voice rough, "for everything. Sarah and I." It lasted 3 years. The baby, our son Ethan, he's 12 now. Smart kid, loves drawing like you. But we divorced when he was 4. I came out last year. To everyone. The confession hung, simple and seismic. I stirred my mug, watching the swirl. "Came out? After lying to your face about later?" He nodded, eyes down. "I was scared shitless. Dad disowned me for a month. Called me every name in the book. Mom cried, but she stayed. Ethan. He just hugged me. Said it explained why I stared at the hot coach during t-ball. Kids, man. They get it faster than we do." A laugh bubbled up, bitter-edged. "And me? I waited, Liam. Wrote letters I never sent. Sketched your face until my pencils snapped. Moved across the country to forget. But you were in every sunset, every empty bed." He reached across, hesitant, and this time I didn't pull away. His hand was calloused, warm, familiar. "I followed your work online. Those book covers? The one with the bridge in whispers on the wire. That was us, wasn't it?" I swallowed hard. "Guilty." We talked then, words tumbling like the rain outside. His farm struggles, the hardware store barely afloat post-pandemic. My Ella burnout, the freelance hustle that left me hollow. The betrayal's scar tissue softened under the floodlight of time. He'd hidden to protect his family. I'd hidden to protect myself. But the love? It hadn't faded. It had fermented into something wiser, less blinding. By closing time, the storm had passed, stars pricking the Ohio sky. We walked to his truck, parked crooked by the bridge. Our bridge preserved like a relic. "Stay the night?" he asked, voice tentative. "Not like before. Just talk more." I nodded, the weight lifting inch by inch. Inside the cab, radio humming low country, he drove slow, windows cracked to the cool night. At his place, a modest rancher on the outskirts, toys scattered on the porch. We sat on the swing with mugs of chamomile, Ethan asleep inside. No grand gestures, no desperate clutches. Just quiet unraveling, stories shared like heirlooms. Dawn crept in peach and gold, and as he walked me to my rental car, he paused. "What now, Mad? For us?" I looked at him, really looked, and saw not the boy who'd broken me, but the man who'd grown through the shards. We start honest. No more secrets. Phone calls, visits. See if this bridge still holds. His smile broke wide, that old crinkle igniting. I'd like that. As I pulled away, Eldridge fading in the rearview, the memorial's lilies danced in my mind. Not as graves, but as seeds. Love, I'd learned, wasn't a flawless bloom. It was the stubborn root pushing through cracked earth, finding light after the longest winter. And for the first time in 12 years, I believed in the thaw. But thaw? That word mocked me 3 months later, when the call came at 2 a.m. Pacific time. My phone buzzing like a hornet, trapped in my Echo Park bungalow. Liam's name lit the screen, and I answered groggy, heart already racing. Hey, you okay? A pause, then his voice, frayed as barbed wire. Dad's gone, mad heart attack in the shop. Just dropped. The world tilted, sleep evaporating in a rush of sympathy and dread.
Jesus, Liam.
I'm so sorry. Ethan? He's with Sarah, picking him up in the morning. Funeral's Friday. A hitch in his breath, the kind that precedes a dam break. I don't know how to do this without him hating me more. I was on the red-eye before sunrise. The flight a blur of stale coffee and turbulence mirroring my gut. Landing in Akron. The cold slapped me awake. January's bite, snow dusting the runways like forgotten confetti. Liam waited at baggage claim, bundled in a wool coat that swallowed him, eyes red-rimmed but dry. He pulled me into a hug fierce and wordless, his stubble scraping my cheek, the scent of hay and engine oil grounding me. The drive to the farm was silent, highways flanked by skeletal trees and billboards for truck stops. His childhood home loomed at the end of a gravel lane. A sagging two-story with peeling blue paint, the hardware store attached like a stubborn afterthought. Carver's Fix-It, sign crooked from years of wind. Inside, the air hung heavy with liniment and regret. Family photos lined the mantel, Liam as a gap-toothed kid beside a stern man in fatigues. Sarah arrived with Ethan mid-morning, her minivan crunching ice under tires. She was compact and no-nonsense. Blonde hair in a ponytail, eyes sharp but kind. Maddox, she said, shaking my hand firm. Liam's mentioned you, the artist. Ethan trailed her, all gangly limbs and curiosity. 12, with Liam's hazel eyes and a sketchpad clutched under his arm. You're the guy who draws bridges? He blurted, sizing me up. I crouched to his level, offering a grin. Guilty. Want to see my latest? His nod was eager, and over hot cocoa at the scarred oak table. I flipped through my phone. Digital proofs of a YA cover. A boy on a span gazing at city lights. Cool, he breathed, tracing the screen. Dad says you taught him to see stuff different. Like, not just nails and hammers. Liam watched from the doorway, arms crossed, a ghost of a smile playing. Sarah caught my eye, mouthing thank you before corralling Ethan for lunch prep. The days blurred into funeral rituals. Selecting the casket at the undertaker's, a boxy room smelling of varnish and lilies. Always lilies. Neighbors streamed in with casseroles and condolences, their accents thick as oatmeal. Tough old bird, your pa. Or, he fixed my tractor twice, no charge. Liam nodded through it, jaw set, but at night, when the house creaked empty, he'd shatter. Curled on the couch, sobs muffled into my shoulder as I stroked his hair, whispering nonsense about stars and second chances. You're doing good, I'd murmur, though we both knew it was a lie. Grief isn't linear. It's a riptide, pulling you under when you least expect. Thursday Eve, the real storm hit, not weather, but words. We'd escaped to the barn after dinner. Ethan tucked in with a Marvel comic, Sarah crashing in the guest room. The space was a time capsule. Rusted tools on pegboards, hay bales stacked like forgotten forts, a single bulb swinging lazy overhead. Liam paced, kicking at straw. I should have told him sooner, he growled, fists clenched. About us, about me. He knew deep down from the wedding questions the way I'd dodge church. But I let him die thinking I was still his straight arrow son, chasing the American dream he fought for. I leaned against a post, arms folded. You think regret's a one-way street? I bailed after Swenson's, Liam. Didn't fight for us. Ran to LA like a coward, sketching ghosts instead of facing them. He stopped, turning slow, eyes stormy. You think that's why I'm pissed? Nah, it's this. He yanked open a trunk, hinges screaming, and hauled out a shoebox. Faded, taped at the corners. Inside, letters.
Mine.
The ones I'd burned in effigy but he'd somehow salvaged. Forwarded from a P.O. box I'd forgotten canceling. You kept them? My voice cracked, hand hovering over the stack. Yellowed envelopes, my looping scrawl spilling pleas and poems. Every one. He sifted through, pulling a dog-eared page. Liam, if love's a bridge, you're the span I can't cross without you. I read 'em when Sarah left, when Ethan asked why Daddy cries. They kept me sane. The air thickened, charged like pre-thunder. I stepped close, tracing the box's edge. Why show me now? Because hiding's what killed us first time. His hand covered mine, rough thumb stroking my knuckle. No more. I love you, Maddox. Not the kid version, the man who flew 3,000 miles for a mess like me. Our kiss was inevitable, born of grief's raw edge. Slow at first, tentative, then deepening with 12 years' hunger. His lips tasted of salt and chamomile, body solid against mine in the hay-scent chill. But it wasn't fire. It was hearth, comfort in collapse, anchors in the undertow. We broke apart breathless, foreheads pressed, and laughed soft at the absurdity. Two grown men in a barn, rebuilding on ruins. Friday's service was a blur of khaki suits and hymns. The VFW hall packed with vets in berets. Their stories of weaving eulogies for a man who'd carried shrapnel in his soul. Liam spoke last, voice steady as he clutched the podium. Dad taught me duty, to family, to country, to the tools that fix what's broke. He wasn't perfect, but he loved fierce. And in the end, that's what endures. Ethan slipped his hand into mine during the graveside. Cemetery crisp with frost, flags snapping in the wind. Grandpa would have liked you, he whispered, as dirt pattered on the casket. You make Dad smile real. Back at the house, the wake turned maudlin. Beer flowing, tails tall as the rafters. Sarah cornered me by the cooler, her expression soft. He needs this, you. Ethan's already asking when Uncle Maddox visits next. I nodded, throat tight. We're figuring it. She squeezed my arm. Good. Life's too short for half measures. That night, snow fell thick and silent, blanketing the farm in mercy. Liam and I sat on the porch swing, bundled in quilts, watching flakes dance under the security light. Ethan snored inside, Sarah's rental humming in the drive. What if I stayed? Liam murmured, head on my shoulder. Sold the store, moved west. Or you here. Teach at Eldridge, illustrate from the guest room. The offer hung, tempting as forbidden fruit. It's not that simple. Your roots, my wings. Screw simple. He lifted my chin, eyes fierce. We build a new bridge. Together. I kissed him then, snow melting on our lashes, and felt the possibility crack open. Not a fairy tale, but a blueprint. Human, messy, real. 2 weeks later, back in LA, the packages arrived. The shoebox, plus Ethan's sketches. Crude but earnest bridges. Captioned for Dad and Uncle Mad. Liam's texts pinged daily. Job listings at Eldridge, apartment hunts in Akron. I countered with Zillow tabs for Echo Park condos. Room enough for 3. Spring crept in, tentative cherry blossoms on campus walks via video calls. Ethan's baseball games streamed glitchy. The conflict simmered, though. Distances drag, my freelance deadlines clashing with his store inventory. A fight erupted over Easter. Me snapping at a canceled flight. Him accusing me of 1 foot out the door. You're doing it again, he yelled over the line, voice echoing in my empty kitchen. Running before we even start. And you're clinging to ghosts. I shot back, heart pounding. That farm, your dad's shadow. It's chaining you. Silence. Then a sigh like wind through willows. Maybe. But without you, it's just chains. We patched with apologies a weekend summit in Chicago neutral ground. Magnificent mile melting into Lake Michigan walks. There, Under the bean's curved gleam we vowed. Hybrid life, for now. Him summering west, me nesting east. Ethan as our compass pointing true. By June the shift felt seismic. I sublet my bungalow, shipped boxes to Akron. Sketchpads mingling with toolkits. The hardware store got a facelift. My murals on the walls, bridges linking nails to narratives. Liam proposed not with rings, but a custom mallet engraved "Build with me." Practical romance, American as apple pie. Acceptance letters rolled in for Ethan Art Magnet School. His sketches blooming under my loose guidance. Sarah remarried a teacher. They're co-parenting a model of grace. And us? We carved space. Mornings with coffee and crosswords. Evenings on the porch tracing stars. Bodies entwined in quiet affirmation. No rush, no hiding. One July 4th. Fireworks bursting over the Cuyahoga. Ethan grinned gap-toothed between us on a picnic blanket. Best secret ever, he said, munching sparklers. Liam ruffled his hair. Not a secret anymore, bud. I met his gaze over the glow, heart full. Damn right. Yet secrets, like weeds, have a way of choking the garden you thought you'd tamed. It started innocuous. A letter in the mailbox that August postmarked Columbus, envelope crisp as legal summons. Liam slid it open at breakfast, Ethan chattering about school supplies, me sketching menu ideas for the store's grand reopening bash. His face drained of color, fork clattering to the plate. What the hell? I leaned over, scanning the letterhead. State of Ohio, Department of Corrections. Liam. Jake, he muttered, the name a grenade. My old roommate, out on parole, wants to reconnect. Jake Harlan, no relation to the prof, had been the serpent in our Eden, the smirk in the hallway who'd peddled rumors like contraband. After college, he'd spiraled. Bar fights, a string of DUIs, culminating in the Route 71 crash that birthed the memorial. Manslaughter plea, 12 years inside. Poetic, cruel irony. Ethan's eyes widened. The bad guy from Dad's stories? Not stories, Liam said tight, folding the paper sharp. But he's paid, kiddo. Let's not. I touched his arm, pulse racing. What does he want? A meeting. Says he's changed AA, Bible study, the works. Wants to make amends. Liam's laugh was hollow. Amends. Like he didn't out-me to half the frat row. Tank my internship shot when the firm got wind. The air soured, breakfast forgotten. Ethan scampered off to cartoons, leaving us in the wreckage. You gonna see him? I asked, voice low. Hell no. But his eyes flickered, duty's ghost, that farm boy code of facing storms head-on. Weeks gnawed, the letter a specter at our heels. The reopening rocked. Ribbon cut with comically oversized shears. Locals toasting my murals with craft IPAs. Ethan hawking lemonade from a stand etched with bridges. Liam shone, charming chamber folks, but I caught the strain. Glances at the door, like Jake might materialize from the ether. Then, mid-September, the knock came. Crisp fall air carrying wood smoke. The screen door banging as I wiped flour from my hands in the kitchen. Liam was restocking shelves. Ethan at soccer. I opened to a stranger. Mid-30s, gaunt in a flannel too big. Tattooed knuckles flexing nervous. Hazel eyes, no gray, shadowed. But the smirk? Unmistakable. Maddox Hale, he drawled, Ohio twang softened by years. Figured you'd answer. Liam ducks calls. Jake. My gut nodded, but I held the frame steady. He's working. What do you want? He shifted, boots scuffing the welcome mat. Home is where the heart builds. 5 minutes. For old time's sake. Against every instinct, I stepped aside, curiosity's curse, or maybe the human itch to witness redemption's gamble. We sat at the oak table, coffee steaming untouched. Up close, prison had carved him hollow. Cheekbones sharp, a scar slicing his brow like a question mark. Look, I ain't here to stir shit, he started, hands splayed. Inside, it hits you, the lives you wrecked. That night on 71, booze and bad choices, but I killed kids with dreams. Your dreams, too. Heard about the crash rumors tanking Liam's gig. I stiffened. You knew. A nod, shame curling his mouth. Jealous, mostly. You two were. Real. In a world of bros and beers that glowed. So I snitched anonymous tips, whispers to his profs. Petty as hell. The admission landed like a sucker punch, resurrecting dorm shadows. Jake's leers, the hall's chill. Why tell me now? Because amends mean facing the fallout. He slid a photo across, creased, wallet-sized, him with a woman and toddler, all smiles at a park. My family's waiting in Columbus. Got a job at a warehouse, sponsors clean. But Liam, he's the knot I can't untie. Tell him I'm sorry. For the closet I shoved him deeper into. Liam walked in then, toolbox clanging, freezing at the tableau. Get out. Voice low thunder, eyes blazing. Jake rose slow, hands up. Carver. Out. The word exploded, toolbox hurled. Not at him, but close enough to rattle the mugs.
Jake bolted, door slamming echo.
Liam sank to a chair, head in hands, breaths ragged. Why'd you let him in, mad? After everything. I knelt beside him, hand on his knee. He came clean, said he was jealous of us. A bark of laughter, broken. Jealous? That prick ruined. But he owned it. I cupped his face, thumbs brushing tears he hadn't shed yet. You're not that scared kid anymore. You don't have to carry his poison. He searched my eyes, storm clouds parting slow. What if I do? What if forgiving him means forgiving me? For hiding, for Sarah, for the years we lost. Then we carry it together. I pulled him close, his sobs muffled in my shirt. Grief layered thick. For Jake's victims. His dad. The boy we'd been. Ethan burst in later, sensing the shift, and piled on with a hug. Group tackle. No secrets allowed. We didn't see Jake again. Letter returned unopened. His amends a seed we let lie. But the encounter cracked us open wider, therapy sessions via Zoom, unpacking closets and crashes. Liam sold the store to a young couple from Kent. Proceeds funding a down payment on a split level nearer campus. Room for Ethan's art studio, my drafting table, a porch swing for stargazing. By Thanksgiving, roots took hold. I taught adjunct design at Eldridge, my syllabus laced with bridge metaphors. Liam consulted for nonprofits, leveraging poli-sci smarts for community grants. Sarah's wedding was a backyard affair. Ethan ringbearer in a tiny tux, toasting blended better with sparkling cider. Winter solstice brought the question. Formal this time. Liam on one knee by our Christmas tree. A ring simple silver, engraved with coordinates. The bridge's latitude. Marry me, Maddox. Not despite the secrets, but because we survived them. Tears blurred the boughs, lights twinkling like promises. Yes, 1,000 times. The wedding was spring, understated courthouse vows. Then a backyard bash at Sarah's, wildflowers and wild laughter. Ethan walked me down the aisle of strung bulbs. Jake's ghost banished to footnotes. Vows exchanged under Ohio oaks. I promise to build with you. Through storms, through silences, through every hidden year. Honeymoon was Route 66 Redux. Camper van rattling west. Ethan shotgun with sketchpad. Stops at diners for pie and stories. Sunsets painted us gold. Bridges spanned canyons literal and not. Back home, life wove human tapestry. Ethan's first gallery show at 15. My book deal for a graphic novel. Bridges unburned. Our story veiled in fiction. Liam's gray deepened. Mine too. Lines from laughter, not just loss. Mom visited, hugging us fierce, her pies now for 3 generations. Dad grunted approval over a fixed carburetor. Love's like engines, runs best tuned honest. One anniversary, returning to the memorial. Lilies in hand, no rain this time. We sat on the bench, Ethan's head on my lap as he dozed. They thought you were just arranging flowers, Liam murmured, arm around me. I smiled, tracing the plaque. But we hid a lifetime. Not anymore. His kiss was soft, sun-warmed. The quad alive with students chasing their own secrets. And in that moment, under Midwestern blue, I knew. Love's true arc isn't erasure, but emergence. From buried roots to blooming bold. Human, flawed, enduring. The American way, rust and redemption. bridges over every broken road.